All right, welcome back, everybody. Nelson Mandela Bay, that's where we're broadcasting from. That's where you're seeing these magnificent visuals coming from the coastline here. Isn't it just magnificent? In Port Elizabeth, that's where we are. The happy and windy city. Well, I'll tell you what, the wind is behaving. Well, for this particular moment, it's behaving. I think from 1 minute to the next, you never really know. Well, the focus this morning is on women and Africa to Africa Women's Conference. That's what we're covering here. The president was here addressing the conference, the opening of the conference on International Women's Day. That, of course, is held annually around the world on the 8th of March. That, of course, being Sunday, having big messages to give to the women of South Africa and the women of Africa, because this conference is aimed at bringing decision makers from around the continent together and to share ideas as to how to better the lives of the women of this continent, and also sharing ideas from a lot of other countries like India, like China, Brazil, you name it, and the UK also being represented here. Well, some of the incredible women that have already presented here at the conference include the lady I'm about to speak to now. And this lady was focusing in on economic empowerment. Madelein Mkunu is a leader in women's strategic development on a number of platforms, including the Department of Trade and Industry. Madelein, good to have you on the program. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much, Leanne.
The reality is, and it's as simple as this, unless we have economic empowerment of women, we will never have equality. We will never reach any millennium goal. We will never reach that place we need to be as a gender to be empowered for ourselves. Being stable with money is what we need. How do we go about doing that?
Well, that's quite a challenging question, and I think that's what we are actually working toward. Let me start by saying first that Leading Women of Africa, which has been created as a Pan-African network that promotes regional integration of African women, is actually working toward accessing business opportunities in Africa. Economic empowerment of women, as we know it, is not going to happen in isolation. It needs a concerted effort, both from government, from corporate sector, and women themselves. Women need to be put at the center of economic development of this continent as we speak now. And we know as well that women represent over 52% of the population of the continent. Yeah. So Africa will never reach its full potential if 52% of its population is actually underutilized, put it in that way. And we believe that economic empowerment of women is actually the key to sustainability, is key to equality that we are looking for. It needs women to actually take their rightful place on the continent. And we know that women are entrepreneurial. We know the potential of women. From corporate sector, we know that women can improve the bottom line of every corporate that decides to put women at the decision-making position. Yeah. So on the continent, we know that women are the ones that drive families, that they put families together. In their entrepreneurial drive, they actually manage to provide for their families, to send their families to school. So we need to put women at the center of the economic development of the continent. Without that, we're not going to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. It's happening this year. This is the year that we're going to do the stock count to see did we reach it. And I think as we move toward sustainable development, now post the Millennium Development Goal, we're looking at sustainable development. We need to focus on putting women at the center. Now we mustn't look at what can we do for women. We need to look at now from the perspective of what can we do with women. Women need to be at the decision-making position.
Yeah.
They know what their needs are. At the same at this conference, Africa for Africa Women Conference, that's what it's all about. And one thing we need to continue to say is that, as much as we have 54 countries in Africa, we share one land.
Yeah.
So this conference has actually played a major role in bringing women from different parts of Africa together, so we can share best practices, we can share experiences, and we can share our challenges. We actually noticed that we share the same challenges on the continent.
The big question is who's listening? Because it's wonderful that there's so many influential and powerful women that are gathered here that are talking about the issues that have to do with women. But who's listening? Which men are in that room listening that are going to go out there and make a difference and say, guys, it's time we make a difference? Because whichever way we look at it, the leadership positions are still held by men all over the world.
That's true, Leanne. That's true. But I think we've been privileged to have the Premier of Eastern Cape to be with us from the opening until now. We've been privileged to have Jacob Zuma, the president of the country. That is the importance that they give to the issue of gender equality. So, and we have a number of men from Eastern Cape that have joined us, and even from India and all the other places. It means that there are, as much as we don't see them, there are men that are supporting women in their journey to economic liberation, or whatever you call it, gender development.
Yeah.
There are a couple of men that are out there, and I think our duty as women now, it will be very, very important to start really creating alliances with those men that
Absolutely.
we know that they are supporting women, because so that they can take our voices forward. I know we have a strong voice already, so we're not saying that we don't have a voice.
Yeah.
We do have a strong voice already. But as we hold hands, I said earlier on, economic empowerment of women is not something that will happen in isolation. It's not something that you say, oh yeah, we do this and we're going to just do that, project for women aside. No, it will need a concerted effort. We need the government, the buy-in of government.
That's it.
Policy is very, very important.
Indeed.
So
and lots
especially at policy level.
Partnerships as well, policy levels. These are the things that happen. Madelein, thank you very much. Sorry for cutting you a little bit short there, but we have to get into a news bulletin now. But thank you. I think we've got a great idea of what it is we need to get economic empowerment to the women of this continent. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll have the news at 7 with Ayanda. Stay tuned.